Sunnahfollowers, protectors of the Sunnah. Sunnahfollowers, protectors of the Sunnah.
Inna alhamdulillah, wa salam Allah, wa rasulullah. Welcome to another session of our series on the jinn. And today what we're going to do is discuss how the jinn will actually attack those of us who are weak. We're going to now get into the things like possession and stuff like that. We're not going to speak about jinn possession today, but we're going to speak about the other ways that the jinn attack us and talk to us and deal with us. And I want everyone to take notes because this will be on the quiz tomorrow in addition to yesterday. Yesterday, a lot of you I know were out celebrating the Eid. So for those of you who are out celebrating the Eid, you need to go and watch the video on YouTube from yesterday, which was session 14, and today is session 15, because the quiz will cover both yesterday and today's lectures. So with that said, let me put the PowerPoint up on the screen for today. And well, let me do it this way. An easier way to get it. Is this it? I guess it is. I don't know. Okay, everybody, just give me a second to open this up. Oh, this is yesterday's. Oh, I am going to have to download it. Okay, hold on. And I don't know what's wrong with this, that it does this. Okay, here it is. Okay, here it is. This is today's. This was yesterday. So again, tomorrow we will have the quiz on session 14 and session 15, which is today. Okay, hold on for 1 second, guys, because my, of course, Instacart is here. And give me a second to pause. Yeah, it's a shame. I ordered that Instacart 3 hours ago. Of course, they wait till I teach a class to come. Okay, so anyway, let's open this up so everyone can, inshallah, see the PowerPoint. So the quiz tomorrow is going to cover session 14 and 15. So make sure you guys go to YouTube and watch session 14 of the World of the Jinn, and also today's session 15, because we're going to speak about how the jinn come to those who are weak in faith and practice. And again, I want to emphasize to everyone listening to me that the jinn can only attack you and can only do things to you if you are weak in your faith or not practicing your religion properly or living in sin. If you stick to the religion, if you are doing like you guys are doing, coming here every day to learn Islam, and then you're practicing it, you're seeking the true knowledge of the religion, and you're not deliberately, intentionally disobeying Allah, then your shaitan, your devil, has no way that he can lead you astray or play with you. And where's my evidence? Because I did receive an email from someone asking me, where's the proof that if a person is practicing their religion? Where's the proof that if a person is strong in their iman, that the evil devils of mankind and jinn have no power over them? Well, here it is. Allah says in the Quran, in the interpretation of the meaning, O you who believe, enter Islam perfectly by obeying the rules and regulations, and follow not into the footsteps of shaitan. So here in this verse, Allah is clearly stating for those of us who take this way of life as our way of life, and we fulfill our obligations, we obey Allah's laws, we stay away from what Allah commands us to stay away from, we're good. It's when we follow into the footsteps of shaitan by disobeying Allah, giving into our desires, not for doing our obligations. If you stop praying, you're not fasting Ramadan, you don't wear hijab, you smoke weed, you drink alcohol, you got a boyfriend, you're fornicating, you're talking to men on the internet, this is when you open yourself up to your personal jinn to try to seduce you, to do even worse things, because everybody understands. So that verse of the Quran is the evidence. As long as your faith is correct and you're practicing this religion and doing what Allah commands, then you are okay. So for those of us who don't, for those Muslims who are weak, how does shaitan get to them? Well, number one, by whispering into the hearts of those who are weak in their faith, by whispering into the hearts of those who are weak in their practice. You know, and Allah talks about this in the Quran. Allah says in the interpretation of the meaning, from the evil of the whisperer, the devil who whispers evil into the hearts of men and then leaves. And from his whispering, a person will forget about Allah. We have the hadith, whereas the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, shaitan flows through the son of Adam like his blood. What is he talking about? These are the whispers of our personal jinn. He knows our strengths. He knows our weaknesses. When he sees that you are faltering in your belief system, you're faltering in your practice, then that's when he'll start putting suggestions in your heart for you to do more things you shouldn't do. Maybe I should just stop praying completely. Maybe I should just take this hijab off. Maybe I should start hanging out with my Kafir friends, since the Muslims are so critical. You know, all those evil suggestions, we call it waz, the evil whispers, that comes from your personal jinn when he sees that you have weakened in your faith and your practice. Also, sometimes if a person really continues to fall and weaken in their faith and practice, sometimes your personal jinn will call out to the other devils amongst the jinn, and they may appear to you in the form of a human being. They may even speak to you, cause you to hear voices. How many of you know Muslims who don't practice the religion as they should? But they're talking about how their mother, their dead mother, talks to them at night. My dead father appears in front of me. I was laying in the bed sleeping. In fact, a sister just called me a few days ago. One of the new sisters, oh, Sister Layla, you know, when I go to bed at night, my father comes and sits at the end of my bed and talks to me. And my father's been dead for 10 years. You know, that's a jinn. You know, the jinn will do that. They will take on the appearance of dead people and come to you and talk to you. whole conversation with you. This, when you hear Muslims talking about this, this is true. But no, when they come to you with this, like I told this sister, what are you doing that you should not be doing? She said, what do you mean? I said, do you smoke weed? You drink? You party? Do you don't wear hijab? Are you praying? You got a boyfriend? You're lying, you're cheating, you're stealing, you're fornicating. Because again, they only come and do this to people who are weak in their practice or weak in their faith. I told her, do you commit shirk? Who do you love more than Allah? Has Allah tested you with different things, with your family, your children? You put them children over Allah? Well, my son, you know, he sells drugs, and I turn my head to it. Where you allowing your son to sell drugs out your house? That's when we put our children out. As Muslims, we don't throw our children out into the streets unless our children become enemies to our way of life. What do I mean by that? You don't throw your daughter out because she disrespects you with her tongue. You don't throw your daughter out because she talks like a fool. But if your daughter comes in your house smoking marijuana, if your daughter brings her boyfriends into your house, your daughter brings that filthy kafir lifestyle into your house, that's when you let her go. Y'all understand? But if just because she's disrespectful and she ain't got no manners, that's your test. You work on her. You work on her. But as Muslims, we don't throw our children out the door unless they become enemies to our way of life. And like I told this woman, you allowing your son, you know, to sell drugs about your house. Well, he bought me a car. She told me that. I said, excuse me? He bought me a brand new SUV. What am I supposed to do? I need a car in order to get around. So now he's not only selling out your house, but you're also taking the money and using it. I said, no wonder the jinn is coming to you in the form of your dead father, making you think your father's talking to you, because this is shirk. Shaitan wants you to associate partners with Allah because ain't no coming back from that. I told her that destroys all your good deeds. I told her you need to clean your house up, sweetheart. How old is your son? Oh, he's 25. Your son is 25 years old. He's a grown man. He should be on his own. He ain't some little 18-year-old girl. This is a grown man, 25. Girl. So again, when you hear people talk about how they see people come to them and dead relatives or some man that they don't know, it always comes around. That could be a jinn, a devil. Devils take on the appearance of human beings, and they will come to you and talk to you and sit there and hold real conversations with you to try to get you to do things you shouldn't do if you weaken your faith and practice. And also, how many of you hear people say that they hear voices? That happens all the time. Not just people who have suffered with bipolarism. I'm talking about people who are normal, who have no mental illnesses. You will hear a lot of people say, I could have swore somebody was calling my name. I could have swore I heard some. Yeah, some jinn. You can hear that's your personal jinn. When your personal jinn sees that you are weak in your belief system, he or she sees, I say she too, because it could be a female. That personal jinn see that you are weak in your practice, he'll start talking to you, or she'll start talking to you, calling your name. Hey, Layla. Who is that? Ain't nobody there. That's your jinn talking to you, you know, trying to tell you to do things. Talking out loud. Why don't you go look outside the window? Take your hijab off. Oh yeah, this stuff is true. When you hear Muslims who are not practicing their religion right, Muslims who are committing sins, Muslims who are disobeying Allah tell you this stuff, it's true. This is the devils amongst the jinn. Okay? Sometimes these jinns will come to you and tell you that they are jinn. Sometimes they won't tell you they're a jinn. They'll lie like they did this woman that called me. They make you think it's your father, your mother, your granddaddy, or even the Prophet Muhammad, because you don't know how the Prophet Muhammad looked. The description given to us in the Sunnah fits the description of the typical Arabic man. So how do you know? Okay. A lot of people tell me that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam comes and talks to him every night and sits there and hold their hand. Okay, and sometimes these jinn will call themselves people of the unseen. So ghost, people tell you that they see ghosts. Ghosts are jinns. Ghosts exist. Those are apparitions. Those are jinns. So again, but they only do this to those of us who are weak in our faith and weak in our practice. If you're strong in practicing your deen and all that, you ain't got to worry about none of this. Okay. And again, when these jinn come to you and speak to you, sometimes they speak directly to you. Like this sister that called me said that her father, her dead father, which is really a jinn in disguise, comes and talks to her every night and sits on the bed with her and gives her advice in life, you know, telling her that she's doing a good job. How you doing a good job when you ain't practicing your deen? Okay, either they'll talk directly to you or through a medium. You guys see the psychic shows on TV, you know, the fortune tellers, people that can tune in with the jinn. They'll talk to you through these people too. Sometimes if a person is really not practicing their religion and they're really into the jinn can pick them up, carry them through the air, make them fly. We have a lot of cases of that. People get close to the jinn and the jinn do all kind of crazy stuff with them like that. They can possess you too. And we're going to talk about possession in the next couple of days. But again, this is if you are not practicing. And why is it that the jinn like to do this to Muslims? Because we are upon the way of the truth. Islam is the only way you will enter paradise. There is no other way but this way. And when your personal jinn sees that you're not practicing, that you're weak, oh, he's going to call out to all the other jinn around and say, hey, we got him. She weak. Let's do it now. You know, her father died and take on his form. There's a picture how he looked. You know, her son sell drugs. We got her there. She love her son more than anything. Your personal jinn will call out to those other jinns and they will come and just do all kind of stuff to you. Okay. And also we have some groups of people who call themselves Muslims and they call themselves saints. These are people like in this picture, they wear these turbans, they got the big beards, they twirl in circles, they use musical instruments, and they will tell you that they talk to the jinn. He's the jinn man. He'll tell you, let me call, I'm going to take this flute out and blow on it, and I'm going to bring the jinn down and talk to him. And they actually do have a relationship with the jinn. But what do these jinns do? These are evil jinn. These are not good jinns. These are not Muslims. The good jinn stay away from us. These are all devils that make these men think that they're good jinn. And what do these jinns do? They try to get these men, you know, to innovate in our religion. Okay, to do actions of shirk, which is what we see. You know, there's so much innovation today. So much bid'ah in our religion. And a lot of these men who call themselves sheikhs, they'll tell you that they talk to the jinn. The jinn is seducing them, convincing them to innovate and introduce new bid'ah into our way of life. And the jinn will promise to reward them. Oh, we'll give you money. We'll make you famous. We'll make you a scholar. We'll do this. The jinn give them all this worldly gain. You know, so this is very, very common, guys. And you'll see these men, they call themselves saints and big sheikhs with the big turbans on their head and long beards, and they play the flutes and pipes and drums and tell you that they communicate with the jinn. Yeah, they got a contract with them. And also amongst the evil jinn are the men of the unseen. These are the devils who people can't see, but they can hear them and feel them. These are the devils. Some of these devils will even have intercourse with people. You know, I'm sure you guys have heard of women. I know a few women who actually have sexual relations with the jinn. They will say, Sister Layla, when I go to bed at night, sometimes I can feel a man, or sometimes two men, sometimes three men. I can feel three sets of hands rubbing up and down my body. And next thing I know, I can feel them penetrating me, but I can't see them. I can just feel them. I can't touch them, but I can feel them touching me. I know women who are Muslim who experience this. These unseen men having sex with them. And I tell these women, this is the jinn, sister. You better clean up your lifestyle, all that negativity. When your personal jinn hovers in your heart and sees that your heart is filled with a lot of discontent with the qadr of Allah, there's a lot of women and men out there, women especially, single Muslim women who are old. You've been Muslim for 50 years, you in your 70s. I'm talking about women I know in their 70s, their 80s, and their 90s. They will tell me, Layla, there's something comes and have sex with me on a regular basis. This is a jinn. And you look at these women, they're single. They've been single for years. Don't no man want to marry them, not because they're unattractive women, but because they've been married a million times and they're never happy. These are women that are jealous of other women. They are women that never could accept the qadr of Allah. They wanted to be rich. They wanted to have, you know, a certain type of lifestyle, but Allah didn't give them that. So they become bitter. These are women I know who have grudges. They hold grudges against people. They hate people for the wrong reasons, but they are close with kafirs. They're good friends with the kafirs. They have good relationship with non-Muslims that they grew up with, non-Muslims that they worked with, but they hate Muslims. They can't get along with none of the women in the community, none of the men in the community. And these sisters are unhappy and bitter. When you go around them, you can feel, y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know, because you know sisters like this. And I'm telling you, all of them are over the age of 60. You can feel the negativity, you know, running off of them when you come around them. They look at you with such hatred. Well, these women, what the prophet said, the pagans of this nation are those who can't accept the qadr of Allah. So if you can't accept the qadr of Allah, that makes you an unbeliever. So these women, when they go to sleep at night, they moan and groan and are actually having sex with the jinn. I know women like that. They've come to me telling me about, I knew a couple of people I worked with, even some kafir women. I worked with some non-Muslims who had the same problem with jinns coming to them, having sexual relations with them and all that. And these were bitter, unhappy women too. They were bitter, unhappy, older women too, over the age of 60. Just unhappy. So again, you know, this happens a lot. So when you hear people say, oh, something came in my room last night and rubbed all over me and had sex with me, that's a jinn. These are the men of the unseen. You can't see them. You can't touch them, but you can feel them. And these things exist. And sometimes these unseen men will talk to you. They'll tell you that, you know, that you belong to them. You know, they'll end up possessing you too, which, well, like I said, we'll talk about possession in a couple of days, you know, but they'll make promises to you if you cut the tie of kinship, if you turn your children against each other, if you turn the brothers in the mosque against the imam, you turn the sisters against that righteous woman, I'll give you all the money you want. And I'll become your lover even more. They make promises like this to these weak women and men who fall for that crap. So again, but this is only again for those Muslims who are weak in their faith and weak in their practice. We have to understand, guys, no matter how people tell you that they can talk to the jinn, for example, these saints or these Sufi men that you come upon that tell you that they are big sheikhs and they can talk to the jinn for you and they can make the jinn do things. The jinn are not subjugated to anyone after the Prophet Solomon, alayhi salam. No human being is given power over the jinn. The only human being that was given that power was Solomon. And we talked about that, and Allah said no one else. That's why the Prophet Muhammad didn't capture a jinn that he could have captured. So when you come upon these weak Muslims calling themselves sheikhs, scholars, and all that, telling you that they can talk to the jinn for you and they can get the jinn to help you, these people have no power over the jinn, and the jinn are just using them. And there's no good jinns around them. Again, good jinns, they obey Allah. And Allah commanded them to stay away from humans. Any person that's hanging around jinns, they're evil. They're evil. So again, and I don't want you guys to get afraid hearing these things. Because again, if you fear the jinn, that's when they can bother you. The jinn, you know, even though they're stronger than us and they have powers that we don't have, they're weak mentally. They're stupid. They're not as intelligent as we are, okay? They're stupid. They like to scare you. But when they see that you are not afraid of them, then they'll leave you. When they hear you mention Allah's name, they leave you. When they see that you're practicing your religion, they won't come near you. They'll go to that sister over there that ain't wearing hijab. They'll go to that brother over there, you know, that's selling drugs. They'll go to those other Muslims, those other people. Okay, so I don't want any of you to fear the jinn, but for those who are weak, not practicing and living in sin, you need to change the condition of yourself real quick. Okay, I'm going to stop right here for today. If you guys have any questions or comments, inshallah, you can type them on the screen. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Any questions?